Right.
Perhaps we are comedy.
I'm live, apparently, according to the little picture on there. I should have my laptop going here, and I could actually do some fancy stuff and looking at the copious quantities of live messages that come through on the feed, but that doesn't happen very often. Anyway, right, I'm nearly ready to start. I just need to get a video facility for the episode we're going to be talking about. So that would be on.
I started playback back, and it's already 14 minutes into it.
Oh, what do you mean?
Oh, I had the episode playing.
Oh, well, when it's only two of us, we could do like a commentary on it. What do you reckon? I can hear myself coming back. Isn't that weird? Hello, anybody there?
Hello.
All right. Do you want to do a commentary on it? You'll have to, no pausing. If you talk about something, you'll just have to, drift past it. Hello, anybody there?
Yeah.
We'll do a commentary. We'll do a commentary on it.
I've only seen it twice.
Okay. I haven't got a quote, by the way, because I was.
I do.
Well, I don't. Don't worry about it. You can do a quote. I'm not going to do one. All right then. Okay, we're sort of nearly ready to go. How's my recording going? Can you just say something just to make sure that I have
something.
You've definitely got an audio trail going there, which is good. Just make sure that's plugged in because.
Oh, there was a weird echo in 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, that's because nobody remembered this. I did say, the cable had come out, and Ian Kirk sent me an email to that particular point, and I had to explain that I had to use the audio that came from the microphone until I realised that the cable had come out. So that's why there was a weird echo. So basically, you're hearing how how everybody on Facebook hears everybody. Basically, you sound like an echo to the listeners on Facebook, YouTube. Okay, we can get going now because I'm almost ready. I don't know if I've got a. Oh, okay, right. Hello and welcome to the 20 Megabyte Doctor Who podcast, episode 394. I'm Adam and Kablam, and here's Kirby Bartlett Sloan.
You're just making sounds now.
Well, that's rather appropriate, wasn't it? Yes, I thought of that quote just at the last second. I don't know how I managed to do that. But yes, we've got a few Skivers this week on the show. And we've got Kirby back.
Hello.
And we got Debbie Ill. And we got Mary at Chicago TARDIS. Now, I had a message from some celeb who was going to Chicago. Oh, it was friend of the show, Simon Fisher-Becker. Or Fisher-Becker, or Fisher-Becker, depending on how you want to pronounce it. I think he was on his way out to Chicago TARDIS, and we were just discussing Doctor Who conventions and stuff like that. And he, doing one rather than actually going to one, and he just mentioned in passing that he was going there. Well, he was at there, or he was there in Chicago ready for it, or something like that. And I said, well, look out for Mary. She's going to be out there. And she's, oh, yes, I've listened to Mary, he said.
Oh.
It's a shame that Mary's not on the show to absorb that particular fact, but she's actually known to Simon Fisher-Becker, probably through his connections with the 20 Megabyte Doctor Who podcast Facebook group, which you can join. Right, I'm going to flick over to the YouTube channel just to see if anybody's watching. Oh, we got 3 viewers and 1 thumb. So thank you for that, for the thumb. Oh, Laurie next says, hello, fellas. Where is E. Fry-O? Hey?
Where's what?
E. Fry-O. And then he says, everybody. Oh, E. Fry-O is next week's villain. Oh, E. Fry. That's backwards. That's next week's villain backwards. Yes, thank you, Laurie. At least I do like it when people post things, especially on the brand new, slightly more trendier YouTube Live. So, yeah, so at the moment, like I say, we've got 2 viewers. Woo! One of them's probably you.
We lost one.
Oh, we've gone down. It's gone up to 3 now. We've got 3 viewers. And Laurie Nick says she can't type. Okay, this week, listeners and viewers, we're going to be watching Kablam while talking about it because there's only me and Kirby, and it usually takes about that long to do it anyway. So I've got I just want to see if it's going to play as soon as I press the play button. On. Oh, it's an advert. Hang on. Where's the old volume? There we go. I'll just turn the volume off. There's an advert for Dynasties first. I'll skip the trailer. Well, where are you at, Kirby?
Mine starts immediately at the title sequence.
Well, I'm not there yet because I'm waiting for the trailer to end. Right, wait for the trailer to end, and then I'll stop it when. Right, the title sequence is about to start. I'm on 01. What are you on?
0. Ready?
Okay, right. Yeah, 3, 2, 1, go. Right, there might be a slight second delay in the that's where we are with it. Apart from the delay we've got over the Atlantic Ocean. Right, so we've got the title
I'll
sequence.
tell you when like a name comes up.
Oh, yeah, Mandip Gill.
Mandip Gill.
Doctor Who. Who's he?
Doctor Who. Yes. Okay, so we're pretty much
more or less where we should be. Still love this title sequence. Still love the theme tune. Still love this sting at the end. So I've got whatever Chris Chibnall does in Doctor Who will be slightly successful because he's brought back a fantastic sting at the end of the episode. Written by Pete McTay. Very Scottish name that.
Yes.
Pete McTay.
I don't know anything about it.
Nor do I. Anyway, the episode starts with lots of jerky cameras in the TARDIS console room. I better put the subtitles on, actually. Otherwise, I won't know what they're saying.
I don't have subtitles.
Apparently, there's
someone was complaining that there's no roundels. Those lights are roundels. I would call those the same as the roundels.
Similar, aren't they? And then, of course, a robot arrives carrying a parcel. And the Doctor's particularly excited that there's a parcel for her.
And there's my quote.
Well, delivery falsified. Oh, no. That wasn't what I wanted to say.
You're just making sounds now.
No. Anyway, yeah, you're talking about the TARDIS. Those little hexagon-shaped things are slightly larger versions of the Eccleston Tennant TARDISes.
Yes.
Hexagon-shaped things. Anyway, right, so it was a delivery bot, by the way, Kirby, that arrived in the TARDIS.
And I noticed people keep spelling the name of the episode as Kerblam exclamation. It's not. It's K-E-R-B exclamation A-M. The exclamation is in the middle. Look at the package.
Not according to BBC iPlayer. It's at the end.
I know.
Oh, I see.
I know. It's weird.
Okay. But how excited was everybody that happened to be a Fez?
Well, we had been spoiled about a week before.
I hadn't.
Yeah, I was.
Looking at
the children in need.
Oh, right. I didn't pick up on. I didn't see that bit, actually, to be fair.
Okay.
I'm also looking at Ryan holding the bubble wrap and thinking, oh, he hasn't popped any of it yet.
I saw a review of this yesterday, and someone was saying that they definitely saw Ryan pop the bubble wrap.
I didn't see any popping.
Why didn't he explode? This is before. This is still a normal delivery. None of the.
But I didn't see him pop anything, did he? Did he pop something?
Someone that review I saw said he did.
Okay. Anyway,
I'm not going to go back and look.
They arrive in some alien sort of business park, which is quite well designed. I thought it felt very business parky. It also reminded me a little bit of an episode we recently reviewed, which was Sunmakers, I think it was. I know it wasn't either building, but the industrialness of it reminded me of that.
I love the design. The whole design of this episode is really great. I like this reception area. The graphics on the back. Oh, the whole scene with the Sonic and the psychic paper is great.
Yeah, I love the psychic paper. The resurrection of the psychic paper. I do like that, and I do love Julie Hasselholz, who's a very, very good actress anyway. Her character in this, because obviously she's played all sorts of different characters in various things. I mean, if Mary was on, she'd know her best from Coronation Street.
Yeah, I
playing
just
a
saw
woman that used to be a man. Hayley, she was called in Coronation Street, but she played a transgendered man to woman, transgendered. Yeah, so obviously she is a woman. She was playing a woman who used to be a man. She obviously herself has never been a man, but I don't know if that would be allowed nowadays. I think if they were going to cast a transgendered person playing a transgender person,
find an actual one. Yes,
of course they would. But
now Lee Mack, I don't know anything about him except that I've heard his name.
He's a comedian, and he's in a fantastic comedy series, long-running comedy series, which is I can't remember what it's called now. Something like Not Going Out or something like that. I can't remember what it's called. You probably
I would go and look, except I've got this video on.
Yeah, no, you can't go and have a look. Anyway, the crew, meanwhile, are being scanned in a very cool-looking tube with a circular sort of spiral thing going around.
It reminded me of scanning the Doctor and Harry when they were captured on Skaro for Genesis.
Yeah, but slightly better, graphics and stuff. Really beautiful bit of scenery, that is. This looks like a bit of money has been spent on this particular story.
Yes, a lot of money was spent on this story.
let's say the directors that they've chosen for all these episodes, even the poor ones, have been exceptionally good. But yeah, such a good, all the graphics on the computers that say body scan system 5.8, and how enthusiastic that Judy Hesmond Hulsh's character is about all this kit that she's sort of showing off. And of course, then there's a power dip. Don't worry, it'll come online in a minute. Of course, that's now we know, having seen it, that's something sinister, and why that's something sinister. Somebody's probably died, I would imagine. Something like.
No, it's explained that it's the system is I believe it's building up power in order to send all those cajillion delivery bots out.
Oh, okay.
Something like that.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, with the explosive bubble wrap, they hadn't gone out with the explosive bubble wrap yet, though, had they?
No, they're being gathered down in the sub-level.
Yeah. Anyway, so they basically the doctor sort of talks them into using the psychic paper into being recruited undercover to this particular Amazon. Sorry, plan. Which, I mean, if you don't notice it or the similarities between it and Amazon, you're a bit daft. No?
Yeah, I wonder when Amazon's going to sue them.
Do you reckon they will then?
No.
Do you reckon they'll allow anybody to sell this story via DVD or Blu-ray?
And there's some really great effects work that looking down from that balcony.
Yeah. Yes. John, that reminded me of Monsters Inc. with the doors going around.
Yes.
But yeah.
I'm guessing this is a real warehouse, but that's one thing that is lacking this season is finding out where things were filmed.
I'm not bothered about that, but it's the dirt. It's no dirt here. It's very clean. It's a bit like a hospital in some ways, isn't it? But yeah, most warehouses are filthy. I'll be interested to know if we've seen sort of bits of Amazon warehouses and stuff like that, because we have our own here in Britain, by the way. We have our own Amazon set up here, owned by the big Amazon in America. But otherwise, if we had Amazon Prime and bought something from America, no chance of it coming the next day, eh? Or if you live on the mainland, sometimes it comes the same day. I don't know if that works in America.
I ordered a 10-inch fire tablet.
That's what she said. Oh, sorry.
And I got it the next day.
Depends what part of America it comes from, though, I suppose.
Well, I'm in Atlanta, and Atlanta's got its distribution hub.
Well, there you go. Well, I ordered me RAM for my computer at 5 p.m. I think it was one day, and I actually got it. Came within 24 hours, so that was pretty good, I think, especially to the island. So anyway, the gang are given tags on their ankles, which the doctor, because she wants to be in a specific part of the factory, so she manipulates using a sonic screwdriver the tags so she can actually go where she wants to go, and the others have to go
that means that she would have ended up, if she'd left things alone, she would have ended up in maintenance.
Yeah. No, she wants to be in packing, doesn't she, if I remember rightly?
Yes.
Yeah.
And, these workers are really slow.
Are they?
Yeah. The ones in this packing room, they're just la 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 la.
Yeah. Well, maybe that's what they're like in Amazon. I don't know, but I'll tell you what, the robot design.
As I understand, it's very hectic.
The robots are fantastic.
Oh yeah.
And
I saw somewhere someone compared it with that one robot in the Seventh Doctor story.
Anyway, we're missing half the episode now. Oh yeah, what you mean? The Great Show in the Galaxy.
Yes.
Okay, maybe so. Anyway, right, we're in a little room now where we met the girl character whose name I forget. What's her name again?
Kira.
Kira, that's it. Very enthusiastic, and she holds in her hand a handheld terminal, which is used a lot in retail. We've actually, Marks and Spencer, have actually upgraded to a smaller one that you don't have a little hand on the handle like a gun. It's actually sits in your hand more like a phone. I would have thought where we've updated, and it's now 2018, that this is in the future, that they probably have better handheld terminals than they've actually got. Just saying, but I did like them because they're very retro.
It's a science fiction fantasy TV show.
Yeah,
they can do whatever they want.
I know I can, but those little terminals I used sort of reminded me of about 10 years ago when I was sort of using a similar item at my old job at the co-op. But yeah, it's really cool. She's very, very enthusiastic. This what's her name again? Kira. Very enthusiastic. Yeah. Isabella recognised her from another program she watches, but I can't remember what it was, and I don't think it's relevant. I also noticing that the Doctor's T-shirts, the colour of which changes from one story to the next. Sometimes it's red, sometimes it's blue. This story it's blue. The story we had today is blue, but I think this previous one it was red. I just wonder if there's any funny significance to that, because I know that the 10th Doctor, some of his costumes used to change a little bit depending on whether it's a future or a past story.
Julia used to have a theory on that as well.
Oh, yes.
It wasn't future or past. It was something else. I've got notes someplace where I even posted the notes way back when on the Facebook group. Yeah. Whatever her theory was, it turned out not to be true. But
anyway, the Doctor said something nice to Kira, and Kira said that people don't normally say nice things to her.
Aww.
Oh, yeah. And what I did like is when they sort of stand around talking for too much, the robots sort of come in very sinisterly and say in their very calm and charming voices, rather like our friend Alexa says. Standing around talking is, or can you talk during your break and stuff like that, which I quite enjoy that, because it's a typical sort of standard supervisor jargon, but said in a sort of Siri type voice. Notice I said Siri because if I said another name, a certain person would pipe up in the background. So I'm just being very, very carefully. But
during the sequence where they're walking down the aisles of the warehouse, Fred found it quite creepy, and she also didn't like what I liked, where you'd see her walking down the aisles from either side. It's a nice directorial choice, and Fred didn't like it.
Anyway, Lee Mack shows Yaz his little dad necklace, which that's going to be shown on its own later on in the story. So he knew that
it's Chekhov's necklace.
Yeah, so he knew he was going to be dead at some point soon. Well, I did think though that there was going to be at this stage that he was going to be dead, because he's actually quite a good actor, but obviously being killed off so early in the story made me think that they were going to do an everybody lives scenario, but obviously that didn't happen. But so we have a little bit of Lee Mack's character talking about his family, and then that's why the unnecessary talking can lead to efficiency difficulties and stuff like that. The bot says, and he calls it Basil. I think there was a bit we missed earlier on where they called one of the robots a name, and he said that is not my name, or something like that. Which I really did like the way that, because obviously everybody feels that with self-service tills and with Siri and ALXEA, whatever it's called, that even though a certain extent is that because it's so calm and talks in that monotonic way, not like a Dalek, but it's so calm that that calmness can be a bit sinister. Like it's like, hello, I'm going to kill you now. In that sort of, that's quite a sinister, scary sort of thing, and I think that works really, really well. Somebody should actually really create a sort of a skill for the app, Amazon device that's sat in front of me that can scare people. I mean, if I said woof to it now, it would start barking, which I quite enjoy. So, I'm rambling. Sorry. Right then. So. So there's another power failure.
Yes. The one on the right didn't collapse as much as the one on the left.
Maybe had a little bit more battery storage in it. Then we meet the grumpy boss bloke, who has a bit of a go at poor old Kira. He's called Mr. Slade, apparently, the grumpy
Yes.
boss bloke. And the doctor's a bit rude to him, and then he sort of indicates that he's the big boss man. Java Slade, warehouse executive, your boss, he says. Well, you've certainly got the clip full for it, says the doctor. How would you like a warning for insubordination? I do love these conversations. Yeah, so there's actually talking about the doctor and the story we watched today as a good sort of what should have happened. The doctor finding it difficult being a woman, shall we say, which was quite good for the story itself. But she didn't have any problems in this episode being a woman. Anyway, so yeah, the Mr. Slade gets out of the situation with the doctor by saying, "Just get back to work." So they did to a degree. I'm just
and you'll notice all the other workers in the background just
ambling around,
slowly walking back and forth,
like people do at work.
I would think that they would want them to work faster.
Yeah, but that doesn't often happen. So anyway, she's just having a conversation about people that have disappeared, and the doctor's sort of got a bit of a realization face on it. Just as Lee Mack's character goes to a very yeah, because that's right, because Yaz was supposed to go there, wasn't she? But
Yeah.
he took her place, and then there's a very sinister scene in which the glowy man sort of robot person gears up for killing him. And there's a bit of a delay actually after when the camera cuts back to Yaz. You hear his sort of deathly screams.
I get the idea that they also took him to the little room where Kira is later killed.
Oh, okay.
So they're grabbing him now and they're taking him down to have him explode elsewhere.
Okay. Is that's like a analogy for another swear word. Well, obviously he's gone.
I love the view like of her in the distance with just a little ankle light.
Yeah.
Well designed.
Yes, I'd say that I did say earlier on in this episode, all the directions so far this series, I'm fairly confident it's going to continue.
This is the scene that Fred didn't like, going back and forth to either side.
Why? Why?
So she found it disorienting.
Oh, maybe that's the idea, though.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was great.
Yeah. Well, coming through on the YouTube feed, we've got Lillian Robbins says, "Hi." Jeff Waddle said, "This is the weirdest porn video I've ever seen. I think I've been directed to the wrong place." And Laura Nick says, "I think her t-shirts have been 3 different colours so far, which is kind of cool." And Jeff Waddle says, "Kaplunk," and then said, "Look, there's Jodie Barbie." Oh, she's talking about my little over my left shoulder, or right as you're looking at it. No, left as you're looking at it. No, I don't know.
Oh,
Back to the episode. It's not. It's my 13th Doctor figure. So anyway, I'll tell you what. Graham is particularly good at introducing himself to the various characters. This particular instance, he's introduced himself to what we thought was the lovely, mild-mannered sort of cleaner, wasn't he? Essentially.
Yes.
Lovely, mild-mannered king. He wouldn't say boo to a goose. And obviously, we know after the end of it, he's a bit of a baddie. Or is he just a bit, misdirected or a bit confused? I don't know.
Confused.
He's confused.
That was the one part of this story I didn't like.
No.
Leo Flanagan, who plays Charlie, I don't know what he's in.
I haven't seen him in anything, but I could actually, remember. But if I saw him in something else, I'd think, oh. No, I don't know either. But I did like the sound reduction foam that was in the background. That looked very much like the squares I keep talking about.
Yes,
the reoccurring
the squares that we've been talking about.
And then it's break time, and they're at, and then what looks like like a park, isn't it? On their break. I like the fact they're allowed to have breaks. I also like the fact they're wearing these purple high-vis sort of vests as well, which is, I think purple. Don't think purple is the best colour for high vis, to be fair. But
were they wearing those inside?
I don't think they were. I didn't remember seeing them wearing them. So some of them were. Well, of course, Kira dropped something accidentally on purpose so as Charlie can come up and clear it up and they can have a bit of a flirt.
Now, how does a mop really work on grass?
Oh, well, a mop. Well, this is a science fiction fantasy TV show.
Yeah, but they're out there rolling these.
It might not be real grass, Kirby. It probably isn't, to be fair. Now, obviously, where they shot it may have been real grass, but grass, not glass. But it might be synthetic grass for a synthetic park. So I do like the fact that meanwhile, back in the factory, there's a little shot of the TARDIS parked outside, just to remind us, where they are. It's very American, that is, doing every time they change a scene.
Have you moved forward? Because I haven't changed my playback at all.
I'm on 20 minutes and 43 seconds. No, I haven't. Yours is probably going a bit slower. Wibbly wobbly, timey wimey. I'll pause mine in a minute so we can resynchronize. And I forgot what I was saying now. Oh yes, the American dramas. They like this thing of, and comedies for that matter. When they move from one scene to the next, they do a shot of the building outside that they're in. They used to do that in Friends a lot. Even though you know where the friend's apartment is, and they're likely to be in that apartment, they'd have a shot of the outside of the apartment for 3 seconds before that you actually go back in it. They don't do that in Big Bang Theory. Just realised that.
Do we even know what their building looks like from the outside?
No,
Big Bang Theory.
I really don't think it matters. So I'm just waiting for Isabella to catch up again after watching Series 11, Episode 20 more recently. Because obviously we've currently got Series 12 playing on E4, and I've got iTunes with more up-to-date Series 12. So trying to get synchronized so we can actually watch it as it goes out before the series completely finishes. Back to Doctor Who. Right then. The Doctor demands a meeting with the management because she says there's something funny going on and she needs to investigate it. So love the way she walks out of the office, goes, see it laters, I think she says as they walk out, leaving the management team a bit flabbergasted.
Yeah, and management by this point now knows that the TARDIS team has blown its cover.
Yes. So they
and yet they're still being allowed to work.
They're still being allowed to work. I don't quite understand that, but it doesn't matter. I think they also know there's something going on, and maybe they're quite happy to have these sort of external people investigate, a bit like auditors in a way, aren't they? The TARDIS team have come undercover, but now they're auditors. And you talked about wearing the high-vis jackets. They are now wearing their high-vis stuff. I can't remember them wearing them prior to this bit. Maybe because they were outside, they just stood out a bit better. So
yeah, I guess so.
Back to Graham and Charlie. Are you at that bit yet?
No,
okay,
they're just hiding in the closet.
Okay,
right
I shall stop at an appropriate bit. Maybe it's for the who's hiding in the closet?
the Doctor and company. Okay,
okay.
Now we're Graham and Charlie down in.
You're quite a long way behind, really, aren't you? Okay, well, I don't know. I've got to wait for an appropriate bit. Maybe the change of scene might be a good idea at this point.
Okay.
So these sort of character building things, but there's no. I can't remember seeing any clues of Charlie's, sinister, plans at this particular point. I've only seen this episode once, so maybe on a second viewing, as you do tend to do with current Doctor Who, you pick up a lot more on the second viewing. But what I will say is the detail in the background of these shots, all the cleaning stuff and the logos, and is incredible work by the Doctor Who team, the design people and everything. All these sort of containers with
it really is.
So there's attention to detail, which I suppose in a high definition age you really, really need, but it's really, really good. The lighting on it as well, incredible stuff. The lights are sort of bouncing off Charlie's face because there's a fluorescent tube above the shelf, but it's obviously not that when they're shooting it, but that's consistency with the lighting that you can see with your very eyes. And anyway, so they Charlie and Graham have hit it off, so they can go around doing little jobs together around the complex. And doesn't he get a map? That's
yes.
Right. Yeah, because he's after a map. The Doctor really does
the map from the archives.
Yeah, because the Doctor wants to know the layout, doesn't she? I think that's basically what that's all about. and then some of the robots. Oh, hang on. Right, so I've got to the bit where they've done the maps now, Kirby.
Yes,
The
Graham just took the map out.
Yeah, and the robot tilts its head. So when you've got the robot tilting its head, that's where I can start playing again.
Right.
Hey?
Now.
Right. So the doctor sort of gets the Yaz and Ryan into the office so they can have a little poke around together, and
they forget that they're being tracked.
yeah, and a discussion of what to do next and what sort of information they gleaned. And of course, I love the bit with the filing cabinet's locked, but the doctor just gets out the sonic screwdriver, quite obviously, really, but I'd forgotten about it at that point. And then finally, the sonic screwdriver sort of does what it does best, just opening up things, basically. I know some people don't like the Sonic, do they? John Nathan Turner certainly didn't like it, but it's a doctor. I love it too. And then they get rumbled by Julie Hesmond-Hulsh, but she doesn't seem that bothered by it, does she?
No.
So yeah,
I like the clipboard that has the light in it.
It's cool, isn't it?
It's a decorative light. It's not a useful light. It's a decorative light.
Yes, it's. Is that what she says?
No.
But the iPad Pro is a certain size at the moment, so obviously you can think that by that time the iPad Pro Plus, and I know that's not a tablet that gives you copious quantities of caffeine. It's an iPad Pro Plus. Oh, never mind. Would be around that size.
If we weren't actually doing this commentary, I would stop to look at the names and details on that sheet of paper with people who've disappeared.
Would you now? Why?
Because they often put interesting things, like the at the very beginning of the first story this season, some of the people who were being recommended on that YouTube channel.
All right, sorry, I was just looking around. Just realised the dog's not in it. Very unusual. The dog. I've got a dog in the house.
Yes, I know you have a dog.
Anyway, I'm just going to check.
And better editing facilities.
Oh, yes, the doctor's very pleased to get the map, the layout map. And
I thought this was like a planet-wide warehouse, and you can fit it on one paper map.
Maybe it's a three-dimensional map. They haven't shown it in great detail, have they? And then
technology.
And then a what do they call these things? A robot, I suppose you call it, comes in and then grabs Charlie by the throat, which then indicates to you that Charlie is. No, you wouldn't think again that he'd be a baddie, would you? When one of his friends.
Except it's actually trying to stop Charlie.
I know, but at this stage,
we know that now.
At this stage, you wouldn't have thought that. So I don't know if the doctor even realises it, but she's quite. Whose idea was it to rip the head off?
I don't know.
I can't remember. Somebody said that gave the idea. Take the head off, and then the doctor can, use her Sonic to glean some information out of the severed head quite easily,
including the teleportation circuit, which is quite handy.
Yeah, the severed head of the and easy to take off, shall we say, severed head of the robot. Just going to go back to the YouTube feed, and we've got Lillian Robbins says best production design so far for this season. Mess story. We haven't got to the review stage, Lillian, but thanks for that input. Maybe she didn't expect me to do it now. Anyway, that's right. There was a lot of talk in this episode of about workers and automation and that replacing people with robots, and because I think this is a little dig at the idea of Amazon opening up high street stores which were almost completely systemized, right? So they didn't have any people, but you still have to have people to stock the bloody shelves up. And
exactly. Although I know that like Kroger, that's a supermarket here, is working on ways of restocking the shelves with robots.
Okay, but they wouldn't be allowed to sell alcohol, would they, in America? Do you have to be of a certain age to buy alcohol?
Yes.
Do you have to prove that you're that age to buy it?
The way that they deal with that, like in the self-checkout, and we also have checkouts where you walk around the store with a little scanner and you scan the stuff as you're buying it.
Yeah, we have those. We are in the 21st century here in Great Britain.
But
in fact, we probably invented it here.
When you leave, you pay in the self checkout, but someone has to come over and check
Yes,
your
I
ID.
work at a self checkout, Kirby. I know this. I just wanted to see if,
wondering.
because of this automation thing, you still need people to verify identities at the
Exactly.
moment until they incorporate thumbprints and DNA into some sort of system where, I think at some point in the future, everybody's DNA will have to be on file, which I think is a good thing in some ways, because it'll, finding killers and criminals will be easier with those sort of things. But also, it'll be at a stage with passports or whatever, it'll be easier to get passports and prove it's you, and identity theft would be a lot more difficult to prove. I know, you can probably nick some DNA off someone, but I think that we're going down that road. I'm only talking about that because it made me fill a little gap on the episode, because Kira's just been arrested, shall we say, by a couple of robots.
Oh, she thinks she's going to she was just called Employee of the Day.
I know, but she actually has been arrested, but she doesn't realise it. The doctor, meanwhile, in the museum, finds the original Kablam robot, I believe.
Who instantly recommends things from your based on your buying history.
Yeah, which is brilliant.
Yeah, except that you can use the ALEXA to buy stuff, but nobody does, because
I do.
It's just it.
I do.
You actually request things.
Yep, stuff I've already bought. I'm going to buy again. I'll just say to her, buy so and so, and she'll say, "Well, is it this so and so?" Because she knows my purchase history for Amazon. And I say, "Yeah, that one." Okay, but I've done it a couple of times.
I did it once because they had a promotion. If you do it, you'd get $5 off.
Mm. No, some things that I buy regularly, like DVDs, and I know it'll order the same ones from the same people, because I only ordered them, and I know I've got, and it's going to be bought through the same card or whatever. Yeah, I'll do that. It's quite easy. It saves me faffing around. It's like almost like a quick purchase. Like you've got a quick purchase button on Amazon, haven't you?
Yeah,
it's quite useful. What's not quite useful, when it suddenly upgrades your Amazon Music account when you don't want it to, and stuff like that.
Right.
So, meanwhile, the team up by the dispatch chute, and yes, right, because at this point, because they've taken Kira, Charlie's obviously he's in love with Kira, even though he's a bit bonkers, which we don't find out until a bit later. He is in fact in love with Kira, so he doesn't want Kira to get hurt. So Ryan initiates this slide down a cleverly camera-angled chute. They've sort of turned their camera to make it look a little bit steeper than it actually is. And the robots bring Kira into a little padded cell. It's a blockhouse for testing explosions, apparently.
Yes. Look how thick the door is.
Yeah. And they just invite her to sit down and leave the room. But I don't know if we know there's a big flash and she's obviously killed, but we don't see how she gets killed at this point, do we, if I remember rightly? So meanwhile,
you'll see.
Okay. Meanwhile, the team are on these conveyor belts, traveling at quite a high speed around the warehouse and having great fun in the process. This reminded me of Toy Story.
Toy Story 2. Yes.
Which was really quite cool. I think it was deliberate.
It's actually very dangerous to ride around on those things.
Yeah, but the way they sort of just jumping from one shelf to the next, as if it was quite easy thing to do. But also, I did at the time. I thought, oh god, this is quite scary. But it was really, really quite cool. And there's these sort of shells above them are passing over their heads very closely, and I was expecting one of them to get their heads chopped off for the speed. And then, of course, there's a stupid high five, and Charlie falls down. To another conveyor belt that just happens to be traveling in the right direction, so they decide to jump down. I wouldn't have bothered. Would you have bothered jumping down?
No,
but for some reason,
and
for the
how
sake
do they know
of the plot,
that this is going to get them where they need to go? This place is huge.
Have you got a problem with that?
Yeah.
Well, I would say that the parcels can't just go around forever and ever on this conveyor belt. They've got to go somewhere, haven't they? And they've got to go somewhere that's going to end up being dispatched, have they not?
I guess, but
So
there could be bunches of dispatches,
Well,
particularly if you're teleporting robots. You just take it to a robot. The robot doesn't have to be in a central location.
Anyway, meanwhile, the Doctor has activated the little old Kablang robot thing and is talking to it about its purpose and stuff like
What
that.
did they call it? I don't remember.
Yeah, she did give it a name. I can't remember. It did flash up on the screen quickly, but I can't remember what it was. And I say that at this point, Julie Hesmondhalgh is fully on board with the audit.
Yeah, she's great in this.
No, I told you she's a really good actress. Twirly, that's what she called it.
Yeah.
Twirly, because it's got a bit of a Dalek head on it, isn't it? With this sort of twirly.
Yeah.
So, but it's a really cool design. Pointless in some ways, but cool. Also, I like the fact that all the because of the system problems, all the Kablam graphics on their computers is sort of going a bit glitchy. I can't imagine it, that far into the future that you get
I
those
guess
sort of glitches.
that's one of the displays from was next to the scanner.
Yeah,
And it looks like it's down there for maintenance. Huh.
Okay, so you and me are still at the same point on the episode at the moment, then?
Yes.
It might have been because I changed windows. Anyway, there's a bit of smoke coming out of old Twirly. Talking about twirlies, I do like Cadbury's Twirl. I don't know if anybody's tried them in the United States of America, because now Cadbury is owned by an American company. But Cadbury's Twirls, absolutely the best. Apart from
What are they?
the chocolate bars made by Cadbury's. They're like Cadbury's flakes, but they're covered in chocolate rather than the flake that, it's like a flake with a coat on.
I don't know what a flake is.
Cadbury's Flake, Kirby. I can't believe you're in a country that
we don't have them.
You don't have Cadbury's. I'm afraid you do.
We know what Cadbury's is, but we don't have flakes.
You must have all the Cadbury's chocolate bars.
I can get them at the British section of the. So it's kind of a flaky milk chocolate. Okay,
it's delicious.
And then Twirl.
And I tell you, I recommend bung them in the freezer and eat them after they're frozen. They're absolutely magnificent chocky. And of course, you can eat them where they're frozen because they're not solid chocolate. Back to the episode. There's a scene where they're wandering around in a sort of what looks like a car park, actually, something like the basement of Kablam. And it does remind me a little bit of the scene where they were in episode.
What are you doing in the car park? Parking cars.
Yeah, no, the scene, when in episode 2 with the race one, was that the episode 3, where they
episode 2.
They were in that sort of old sort of deserted hotel.
This has got to be a real car park. You're right.
Oh, you agree with me, dear? Makes a change. Anyway, meanwhile, Graham is carrying Twirly, and they meet another postman robot, which is a delivery man. And the Doctor attacks it with a sonic screwdriver, and its lights.
You see the graphics behind them showing the different delivery robots?
No. I was too busy watching them getting teleported, and the Doctor using
before they teleported.
And the Doctor using some Venusian Aikido on Mr. Slade.
Yes.
Because I think she thinks at this point that Slade's behind the whole thing.
Right.
And all Slade has to say, well, it's not me. Oh, well, it's not you. Who is it then?
I believe you.
Yeah, no, yeah, exactly. He believes him straight away, but she would. But of course, that's narrowing down the possibilities now between Julie Hesmondhalgh, which I think would have thought most people thought it was a bit doubtful, and Charlie, I suppose, the only one left.
Well, it could have been one of the other very slow-working.
What that we haven't seen.
Yes,
that would have been a disappointment.
This doesn't make sense.
What
this vat of
gloop
people? I mean, I thought they were all exploded. So what are they doing in this vat, dripping from the ceiling? How did they get there?
Well, when people sadly, Kirby, when people explode, they go into little bits, don't they?
Why did the ankle thing not explode with them?
Maybe it's got a special thing where it's explosion proof.
Okay.
It's a science fiction fantasy TV show. Anyway, there's a very cool scene of all the dispatch bots in a hangar.
Yeah, that reminds me of the Terracotta army in China.
Does it? It didn't remind me at that point until you mentioned it. So that's very well played, Kirby. Anyway, meanwhile, in the so Ryan and Yaz have found. And Charlie have found Kira with a lovely thing that says, "For you, Kira," a little parcel.
Her second present ever.
It's very sad, isn't it? And she opens up the parcel, and there's a flash of light. in a minute.
Well,
Not yet.
she actually pops the bubble wrap. We see her pop it.
Yeah, okay. Well, I haven't seen that. But I've not got to that bit yet. So the
Correct.
doctor wanders around the sea of delivery bots, which again is very, very cool. And I wonder if friend of the show John Davey was actually involved in any of these episodes. He's been very coy about that. Hopefully we'll get a chance to ask him. He seems to be extremely busy with conventions at the moment. I see every single convention in the world he seems to be at the moment.
Yeah, is he in Chicago this week?
I think he is. I think he's everywhere.
Now, I just noticed these delivery bots aren't all built to the same size. It's like Centaurans.
You're being picky, aren't you?
They're supposed to be cloned.
The doctor takes open, sorry to interrupt, the doctor takes open a parcel and finds it wrapped in bubble wrap. Now, I love the fact that bubble wrap's a sinister thing in this, because obviously it's all about Ark in Space, and obviously the bubble wrap that was used,
Yes.
and that's the homage, and I think it's a very clever homage to bubble wrap itself. Like I say, Kira, instead of, well, was there actually a present in that box?
No.
There wasn't.
It's just the bubble wrap.
So she pops the bubble wrap, and kablam!
Yeah, kablam.
End of her. And of course, that upsets Charlie.
One thing is the tablet I just got. It has the bubble wrap that it was wrapped in. It's large bubbles. It's not the little bubbles like that.
Yeah, it doesn't matter, does it?
I
There's all
guess
sorts
if
of bubble wrap
to
now.
the other side of the room and pop one of them, I'll explode.
It might do. You have to be careful not to pop it now. But no, when she exploded and Charlie was looking through the glass and looking really upset, he didn't have to look like David Tennant at that point.
Yeah.
Just saying, he did. So the doctor, fortunately, hasn't.
It just occurred to me.
Oh, what?
Yeah, they whatever factory makes this exploding bubble wrap.
Yeah.
Bubble wrap by its very nature has to be cut into sheets. Why does cutting not make it explode?
Oh, shut up. Maybe they have some way of beaming the gas into the bubble wrap. It doesn't activate it.
I was just noticing the piece that the doctor was scanning had cut edges.
Yeah, but maybe they get gas. It's inert until it gets activated by something.
Okay.
It's a science fiction fantasy TV show. Anyway, at this point, obviously, Charlie, who's deeply aggrieved by the death of Kira because it's his fault anyway, is now revealed as the big baddie, and he's got a big button in his hand, and all he has to do is, beam out.
He doesn't actually say what pressing the button will do.
No, we know it's a big button. It's got to do something.
Yes.
Oh, I can hear my voice again. Anyway, so so the idea is he's going to beam all these robots out across the universe, and everybody pops bubble wrap. That's the clever thing about this story, because everybody does pop bubble wrap. Now, I think that was particularly Moffatish, to be fair, that particular idea, but I do love it. So that's what the plan is. And then the doctor, of course, then sets about trying to talk him out of it, basically. And of course, then we hear why he's got so much against the business, because of they're not employing people. Basically, it's a big sort of almost like a suffragette thing, isn't it?
The idea is to make people no longer use them because they've killed everyone.
That'll probably be it. Doesn't make sense in that way, does it?
It doesn't really make sense.
I didn't think of that one.
Does not make sense.
I didn't think of that one. I think it was just to make it be a very bad PA thing for Kablam, so put them out of business. And then, of course, you'd be forced to employ people. So these people are being sacrificed for the greater good, I think. So in that way, look at it. You can say it doesn't make sense, but in another way, because he's a bit mental or psychopathic, I suppose you call it, then it does make sense in his mind. So I can accept that. That's fine. And I think the doctor makes him realise that, that is stupid. But he's so aggrieved by what he's done and what he's going to do, that I think he just has to explode all the robots there and then, including himself, because it's down to him that Kira's died and he can't live with himself. Just while the doctor's talking about that, I'm just going to check the live feed. Nope, there's nothing else come through. We have 5 viewers though, and 2 thumbs ups. This is almost like me doing a vlog on YouTube, like lots of people make lots of money out of, but I probably won't make anything. But I will go back to this is probably where I'm going to go out and think, all right, yeah, so he gets wrestled to the ground by Yaz. And the Doctor,
after he's just destroyed the button to turn them off.
he stamped on it.
Yes.
And the Doctor can't fix it with a sonic. But she said something about it may be worth a go. Grab the postman's head, just like Judy did in the office. Do it now. So they grab the postman's head, and it comes off just as easy.
Yeah, and she's the one who pulled it off. So I suspect she's the one who pulled it off earlier.
Charlie manages to get away from Yaz, and she's a police officer. That shouldn't have happened.
Correct.
To be fair. But that's why I thought it was good that she grabbed him, because she would know certain, moves to and apart from the fact the Doctor could have also used some more Venusian Aikido on him to disable him or something like that. Anyway, the Doctor meanwhile grabs Twirly and sets a plan in motion, but also says, well, come on, Charlie, get out now. There's no need for you to be in here. Let's go, and all that business. And she sets the orders, and it says delivery orders accepted, and she just says, right, we're going to deliver them to here, to where they are, basically. So she's changed instead of all the going around the universe to deliver these packages, they're all going to be delivered to that hangar. And of course, Charlie's in there going, oh, what's going on? And they need to get him out there, but he sort of refuses to go. And I
was thinking they were waiting an awfully long time before they teleported out.
Yeah, and then all the robots are going to pop the
slowly.
Yeah. And the Doctor uses the severed head of the robot to get them all teleported out into a safe place, while Charlie gets incinerated slowly, like you say. It's a bit like a domino effect, wasn't it? It sort of went a wave of explosions went across the thing, and he did when he was just about to die, he was doing that sort of deep breathing thing that the Tennant's Doctor did which he did specifically when the Master pretended to die in his arms. There you go. Yeah, so that was audit over, really, for the audit team, and they gather in the Chapel of Rest, or the Park of Rest, to discuss the new outlook for Kerblam as a business, and the Kerblam will now be a people-led company, blah, 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 blah. So it's a bit of a happy ending. And I think it's particularly happy ending for Julie Hesmondhalgh, who still keeps her job at the end of it. And
she used to be head of people.
Yeah. And
they like up with people.
The nasty bloke turns out to be quite a nice bloke in the end, and they all wander back to the TARDIS. And
Yaz then says, let's take the thing back to Lee Mack's character's daughter.
Yeah, but we don't see that bit. But
no.
I don't know if that's necessary. I suppose in this day and age, they have to have some family element in Doctor Who. It's been in the series since 2005, so it wouldn't be, it would be inconsistent not to keep it in there. And to be fair, Classic Who did sort of touch on family. I know there was a lot of talk of Ace's family because it was such a mystery. That's why we had Ghostlight, and not Ghostlight. Yeah, it was Ghostlight, and there was also the Curse of Fenric. It was all echoes of Ace's family, and going back, we had obviously Sarah Jane's aunt, and we've had Tegan's aunt. So there's certain, we've had the Brigadier's wife mentioned, and future wife.
Oh, we saw her once.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is that in Classic Who, there was the touches of family mentioned in it, and I got no problem with that. So that was the end of Kerblam. Now, I don't really like paying too much attention to reviews and stuff like that, because I actually really quite enjoyed this story, and I know you were trying desperately to pick up on plot holes, because I know what you all like. I don't mind plot holes if I enjoy the story and I'm so much I'm glossing over it. I think you might say that the current series of Doctor Who might not be as good as it appears because it's just so pretty. You're just looking at it as if you're just taken somewhere else because it's so beautiful to look at. But it obviously wasn't the case for the episode we all hated. but no, I like the fact that we're going, from the past to the future to completely different areas and places in the universe. So, which is what Doctor Who's supposed to do. I'm not. The team is growing on me. This team of three, with four including the Doctor. I quite like it. I think in some ways you could probably do without Ryan and Yaz. To be fair, I don't think you could do without Graham. I think he's too.
Oh, Grant is great.
He's too interesting a character and too well acted. But this episode, I actually really enjoyed. I loved the fact that. Charlie started as being innocent and you didn't know he was going to be the baddie. I love the bubble wrap aspect of it and the fact that it explodes and kills people when you pop it. Because I'm sure that would be maybe in children's minds. They think, "Oh, I better not pop this bubble wrap; it might be explosive." It was just fun Doctor Who, and I really enjoyed it. I don't try and think anything bad about it because I enjoyed it so much, and I should really watch it again before tonight. And because it was such good fun. Yeah, I loved it. Sorry, I know the people didn't, but I did. So, what do you think of it, Kirby?
I liked it. I liked it a lot. I thought my only real problem with it. I mean, yeah, I'll always come up with plot holes. That's my nature. But and also I was just trying to be funny. But
that's unusual. I love the way you say trying to be funny because obviously most of the time failing in that department quite dismally.
But yeah, my only problem with it is when we just discussed as Charlie's motivation didn't seem to quite make sense, but that's fine.
Yeah. Was that it then?
Yeah.
Okay. So you sort of liked it not quite as much as me.
Right.
Okay, let's have a look at what's coming through on the YouTube. It says Joshua Dyball says at least they didn't go with the obvious story of the big bad corporate. I was really worried that it was going to be inevitable, but instead the story had lots of unexpected twists and turns. And then he says, "Here, Adam. Funnily, I didn't enjoy it so much watching it again, though." I enjoyed this, Dave, with you talking over it, Kirby. Anyway, we have some feedback.
I actually enjoyed it better the second and third times through.
Oh, okay. Right then, I'm just sorry. I'm trying to look at.
Now we have two different.
Here we go. Yeah.
We've got two different Facebook feedbacks on this. The one I don't know why you asked for your.
Oh look, we got Lillian's legs on the 20 megabyte Doctor Who podcast Facebook group because she's got some Doctor Who leggings on. Cool, Lillian. I think that's your best one so far. And poor Aaron Danvers Dukes, who's sadly blind, says nice video. Also, where's the remix song from? Poor Aaron can't actually see Lillian's legs in the thing, so it's a shame. But you're missing out there, Aaron.
Well, she also posted where it came from. I've pointed that song out before. It's the Jadoon song. It's really cool.
Okay, Kablam, please write your review below. That's for me. And look, I've got loads, Kirby. Starting with father of the show, Mr. Paul A.T. Wilson. My review, it was okay. They can't all be bangers. Well, that wasn't the best review ever, but there you go. We've got Les, who obviously it says Elsa's Moralon, but his name's Les. Apart from the 50th episode, Last Xmas, and the ep with the 12th trapped in the castle, there has not been a steady run of strong episodes since Series 4. Disagree, Les. Mark Highford, who owns a TARDIS, loved it. Thank you, Mark. John Green.
Is that like who owned the TARDIS that was at Island Con?
Him. It's his TARDIS. And it was his K9 and his Dalek too.
Okay.
John Greenham said felt kind of like a Judge Dredd story. Well, a page 13 version of
PG-13.
PG-13. Sorry, page 13 version of Judge Dredd. Anyway.
Yeah, I don't know what your movie ratings are, but what that would mean is no one allowed to see a movie under the age of 13.
Okay. Trey Clemister says the Doctor ends tyranny. The Doctor does not encourage the oppressed to whistle while they work. This was a disgusting betrayal of Doctor Who. I think every episode of Doctor Who is a disgusting betrayal of Doctor Who, according to Trey. But everybody's entitled to their opinion. Ben Shoveler. This is getting quite interesting.
Ben Shoveler.
Yeah, well, he says, accidentally caught the last 90 seconds waiting for Strictly. Didn't like the Doctor at all. Looked pretty crap. Justified in stopping. Sorry, Ben. You can't judge it on 90 minutes at the end of an episode to actually rate he's being annoying. Right. Oh, Laurie Nix has written a Bible. Right, hang on, let's see if we can get them. I've got to try and. Yeah, you can read. Trouble is, my varifocals make it very difficult reading this sort of small text on the screen. So yes,
Okay.
you can read that bit.
Lori says, for Plunk, I was on board for a while, even though the mundane theme didn't appeal to me, until I returned from freshening my drink. 1 second away from the TV, and suddenly this odd Luddite reversal in the plot occurs with barely an explanation. It annoys me when Doctor Who does this sort of shock value plot twist that pretends to be clever instead of lazy. Certainly not the first time that this has happened in the season, and others, but still, maybe if there were less main characters, more storytelling could happen with other characters, or better yet, bring back two-parters and develop the plot. Also, it was irksome that the guy who is trying to promote workers' rights is suddenly a terrorist. Who is the writer pandering to? Monopolies and big business is bad, haha. It isn't really. Sad face? I guess that is. The Doctor was more take charge this time, thankfully. As I said, I'm starting to feel that lots of people in the TARDIS is hampering the show and making the Doctor seem one-dimensional. I'd like to see her be the focal and thus get to show more range. We've seen tiny hints of it, but mostly I just see a mashup of Tennant and Smith at their bounciest. Sorry, Adam, I'm on a tangential roll.
Yes.
My gentleman friend asked me why I wasn't rushing home to watch Doctor Who last Sunday. I replied, I don't know. I don't feel as invested as I thought I would be. I'll just catch it on repeat. Though I did mention how much I like the historicals. He asked if this Doctor was as frantic as all the rest. New Who. Oh, I guess he only knows New Who.
Yeah.
Suddenly I realized that it was the gist of my ennui.
What?
I don't know. ENNUI.
Okay.
I know that the young'uns like a frantic anime sort of Doctor, and that's generally the default position in New Who. Still, I long for a few moments of thoughtful silence, not the thinking out loud chatter that seems to be her trademark. Also, if she spoke slower, then she'd be a bit easier to understand for those who are struggling with the accent. And as an aside, I don't have any problem understanding her.
Yes.
Okay, and then
good.
she finishes up, I'm looking forward to how they treat the witches hunt next week. Hopefully we'll see a kick-ass Doctor defending the accused in a pro-folk magic stance, even if they just treat folk traditions with a modicum of respect and a mention. It could happen.
Might have happened, actually. I think no spoilers too much, but I did like that there's a bit in the beginning where now we're just here to observe, don't interfere. And of course, when they see that, we saw the clip of the witch dunking in the preview, she just can't resist. So I quite like that sort of aspect of it. The typical Doctor, don't interfere. Oh, bollocks, I'll interfere. Brian Doob said, shut up. Brian Doob said, I enjoyed it. It won't be a favourite for me, but it was nicely done. Jeffrey Williams said, I like the episode. I do agree with the idea that there are too many companions right now and that perhaps the show would be better with just Graham. Okay, I have to admit that I did not expect Charlie to be the bad guy. Also, Kablam and Explosive Bubble Wrap are cheeky, but still not as bad as the Spider episode. Nothing could be much worse than that. Patty Tiller, all these names I haven't commented before, Kirby, on my particular request. Hey, about that.
Oh, wait, you ought to put another request out for the Witchfinders.
Maybe I should. Pat Tiller says, I felt it was the first time all season the Doctor acted like the Doctor all the way through. She did not stand back and let others take the lead, or just get others to watch and do nothing. She seemed confident in her memory, and the issue was resolved. I noticed Chibnall did not have a hand in writing this episode. I doubt that is a coincidence. Trey Clemster says, Clemister, beg pardon. She encouraged people to acquiesce in their own subjection. The Doctor, subjugation. Subjugation. The Doctor does not do that. She does now. Missy, who says the Doctor doesn't do that? I don't understand that attitude, to be fair. No, surely each Doctor is slightly different anyway, and I can't say that none of the more recent Doctors have done that, and I can't say that Tom Baker Doctor never did that. I don't think that is, in the history of Doctor Who, which is 55 years old now, is it? Yeah. You can say the Doctor doesn't do that. The Doctor's murdered in the past. Oh, but the Doctor doesn't do that. I'm sorry, that doesn't work. The Doctor is a fairly diverse character, really, that, is a superhero, but the Doctor will do what will suit the story at the end of the day. Baffles me sometimes. Missy Dickenzu, did they give?
And she has. I made this point.
Did they give an explanation as to why or how these people were liquefied? If so, I missed it. Well, I did it. I did try to lead to an explanation to that one, Kirby, didn't I?
Yeah, but it was lacking.
Shut up. Right, Kirby posted one as well.
Yes, I will, and I will. Even if you do one today, it's nice to.
I might not have time.
Remind people.
I might not have time. Chris Miller said kablam. Joshua Dyball, I'm not sure what he posted on the previous one.
Okay.
Joshua Dyball says, a super little story which I enjoyed a lot. 7 out of 10. Kept you guessing and threw some curveballs. Very upset that Kira got liquidized, though. The robots were suitably sinister. Great to see them. Some nods to the Matt Smith and David Tennant helps to reinforce she's still the Doctor. Have realised that all 3 episodes I've really enjoyed so far this series are the non-Chibnall ones, which backs up my theory that I'm not a fan of his writing talents. After the crap dinosaurs on a spaceship and the Power of 3, which I quite like Power of 3, this doesn't... In fact, I quite like dinosaurs on the spaceship as well.
I like dinosaurs on the spaceship. I didn't like Power of 3.
This doesn't come as any surprise, but he's surely a good showrunner because there's a lot to like about Series 11. Another non-Chibnall one tonight by Joy Wilkinson, which bodes well. There you go. Chris Miller, I saw the Fez as a nod to McCoy. Well, I think Matt Smith's a talk about wearing a fez with a nod to McCoy, actually, wasn't it?
Well, and yes, and Chibnall in a separate interview that was on YouTube said, yeah, this was definitely to the Smith.
Oh, good. Lillian, Robin.
Just trying to remind us that the fez and the mop first showed up way back with McCoy.
Lillian Robin with a lovely picture of her legs again with looks like an iPad saying, patiently waiting for the live stream to start. I liked Kablam. And I'm just going to look, isn't that good? That's why I'm going to favourite that picture. Not because of her legs, but the fact that it's an actual picture of her waiting for us. That was your fault we were late, by the way, Kirby.
What?
Yeah. Right, we've got more feedback. Let's have a look. Look at my inbox. Oh, I've got to get my priority jingle folder open. There's bloody loads of it. Yeah. Right, hang on.
Where's this feedback coming from?
My email. That's at 20mb.feedback@gmail.com, everybody.
Oh no, am I going to have to read the Alan T. Butcher?
Let's see if we can work that one out. Yes.
Have you said it yet?
Let's see what we got here. We've got Jeff Waddle, who says, Kaplunk. I'd rather play Kaplunk than watch this episode again. Ooh, that's off form. It wasn't anywhere near as bad as the absolute clunkers of this season, but nowhere near as good as the 2 best ones. But that's the issue. 7 episodes in, it's not particularly a great season after a promising start. And genuinely, I still don't know what Jodie's Doctor is like. Because if this is what she's meant to be like, I genuinely don't like her playing a role. Let me neck. Let's just flip around, Jeff. Creepy robots, a bit like Robots of Death. A bit Beast Below, a bit Happiness Patrol. Even the robots themselves look like the conductor from The Greatest Show in the Galaxy. Yeah, we've had that point before, haven't we? But the story is just a mess again. We get mixed morale tale of people being slaves to the system, while the Doctor would usually bring down, and yet, and I've lost where I am because it's such a long line, and yet end up with the Doctor helping the system by destroying the one person who is trying to stop it. I didn't have a clue what the Doctor's justification is here. Surely she should have stopped the misguided baddie and stopped the system. In fact, the system knows who the baddie is because it puts the Doctor with him. But she swaps her position with Graham, and so we end up with an episode.
Yep.
Why didn't the system just take him out? I don't know why we are meant to what we are meant to take of this. Sorry, there's no difficult reason. We're very small text. As with a lot of this season, I feel it's like a first draft. Sorry, but most stories would be much better with another draft, and nearly at the end of season 11. That's not good enough. Chibnall has been disappointing, not surprisingly. but so is Jodie, and I'm completely ambivalent if she was to go or stay now. No, I say Jeff's changed his tune a bit there. Oh, you've gone very quiet.
I'm here.
No, so you're not agreeing with me. Do you think that Jeff seems to have changed his tune a little bit?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Well, because you asked so nicely.
Where will I find this?
I haven't sent it yet. It gives a chance. It's a long thing to type in with one hand. Kirby Bartlett Sloan, you know. That's what's happened there.
Well, is it coming through Messenger or email? Or
it'll
what?
be through Facebook Messenger.
Okay.
It's the easiest for me to think to get to under the circumstances. Anyway, meanwhile, back to feedback. We have. Let's press the appropriate button. Let's see if we can do this while the jingle's playing.
I think I just got it.
He's a complete man!
No, this is Ian Kirk.
Hey.
Podcasters, listeners, my fellow organics. Kablam by Pete McTighe. You don't have to be Alan T. Butcher to see this as a closely studied indictment of American online marketing. Alternative action for organics. Yay! Give me your poor, your huddled masses, yearning to breathe oxygen. There are references to the adventures of previous doctors. The 10th Doctor's visit to Agatha Christie is mentioned.
Yes,
The 11th Doctor must have ordered a new fez after River Song destroyed his.
of course.
Perhaps there's a hidden reference to Joe Grant's departure to visit the Amazon. The Kablam men transmatted into people's homes, so they have to have that goofy grin. The bubble wrap is to die for. The Doctor's excitement at seeing the Kablam man at the beginning is over the top, but it contrasts with how appalled she is to see an army of them at the end. That was a very slow day in the packing department.
Yes,
With plenty
it
of time
was.
for chatting.
Yes.
The butler did it. No, the cleaner did it. The Doctor was assessed as being suitable to be a cleaner, but changed places with Graham. If she hadn't been a cleaner, she would have been working with a real villain. If you enjoyed this story, you might also like The Girl Who Waited.
Hmm.
Oh, yes, wait a minute, Mr. Postman. Wait, hey, Mr. Postman.
Bye for now.
Thank you, Ian. That's Ian Kirk, everybody.
Hey.
You don't sound too enthusiastic, really. Right then, he was talking about Alan T. Butcher's saying, and how did Ian say it? A closely studied indictment of American online marketing. So you can now see if he's right.
I'm trying to make this larger.
That's what she said.
Oh my goodness. How long is this?
And that's what she said. Come on. Oh, while you're doing that, I'll see what they're saying on the live feed.
Okay.
Alan T. Butcher says, I do like page 13. I think he's taken the mickey out of me. And Lillian Robbins said, Ian is a treasure. He is indeed a treasure. I will say that I'm gleaning from some of the comments, especially from Jeff Waddle and Trey Clemister, is that I've gleaned from that I like Doctor Who a lot more than some people do. Have you ready that, Kirby?
What?
Are you ready yet?
Yes, I
Get
guess
on
I'm
with
just
it
gonna
then.
have to
Alan T.
scroll.
Butcher just said it's long enough. You don't need to enlarge it. I think that's another cause for. That's what she said. Get on with it. I'm just going to turn my printer off. I didn't even know the printer was still on. Go on.
Terror in the Amazon or bubble explosives. It's a wrap. Dear 20 megabyters. Kablam is, of course, a closely studied critique. I've always wanted to say that. Closely studied critique of legitimate grievances being taken too far or directed at the wrong target. There is no serious attempt to examine the faceless capitalist hegemony
Don't ask me. I don't know.
that created the appalling working conditions in the first place, but instead it takes on the method of protest arrived at from desperation by those that seek to remedy this appalling state of affairs. Government complicity with the situation was not addressed, and middle management ineffectiveness and incompetence, whilst presented, was whitewashed in the resolution of the story. The callous murder of a bright, friendly, but downtrodden young woman was sanctioned with nearly without comment as the attempt of a system with a conscience to get the attention of an over-aggressive protester. At least the doctor's intervention refocused the terrorist ire to affect the property of this aberrant company rather than visit it upon its customers. This is perhaps a relative shift to a less reprehensible form of direct action. So the doctor put a seal of approval on Luddites.
Right.
It should be noted that while some suggest that restitution is made, in fact, the concessions at the end are actually the sort of minimum short-term improvements the establishment get away with to maintain the status quo in terms of control. Unless Kerplam was placed under a cooperative or anarcho-syndicalist management and ownership structure, the gains made are bound to be quickly eroded under the. My mouth is getting tired.
That's what she said.
Under the subterfuge of an economic imperative. Also, that place was a health and safety nightmare. The health and safety executive would have had a field day. We also learned that the lady from the cafe in Coronation Street did live on after all and made a career in human resources despite clearly not having much aptitude for it. All in all, Kerplam is a deeply misconceived story which opens up a can of worms but just achieves smothering the landscape in worms. Thematically, it was a real mess and remarkably fell very short of the satisfaction of a clear ending such as was achieved in The Sunmakers, where the amoral civil servant's grisly death thrown from the building and the capitalist slime quite literally being flushed down his own commode by financial collapse worked well. That said, it was pretty entertaining and the cast all do well. They're also very much coping well with having more companions than as usual. Chris Chibnall is very clearly well studied in how the program has been made to work through its long life. Well, yeah. This story is perhaps most of 1 or 2 episodes too short. As if you had the extra time available, you could have a better developed story which took on the real causes of the problems that were faced and deal with them like they did in The Sunmakers. Next up, Doctor Who and the Muddy Jacobian Hand of Fear or Graham Gets a Hat. Those are my thoughts, Alan T. Butcher.
Thank you, Alan T. Butcher. And
thank you for making me wrap my mouth around words I'm not used to.
Careful. Yes, that was Alan T. Butcher's feedback. I'm just clicking to see if anything else has come through. No, I've got some news about Funko Pops. No, it doesn't really have any bearing on the story.
Oh, you had lots of Funko Pop fun, I heard, at the Island Con.
Well, I've got a couple of coming through for Christmas, a couple of Big Bang Theory characters, very expensive ones, but what I'm particularly looking forward to is the release of Queen. So that's the rock band Queen. I'm going to have a Funko of each of the members of Queen. I think that set will be a bit of a collector's item at some point. So Isabella has suddenly become a massive Queen fan, and when she found that I was getting,
good for her.
Yeah, when she found out I was getting Queen, she oh, I want a Freddie. Yeah, but which Freddie do you want, Isabella? Oh, I don't know. So she went for the standard Freddie in yellow outfit, with him posing with his hand up in the air in the Freddie way. Anyway, yes. Away from Queen, back to Doctor Who. Right then, now we can look at Lavazzi, because I just wanted to shout about the Lavazzi jumper that I indeed modelled on the Motorbike.
I like it.
Deb doesn't like it, even though she bought it for me. The reason why she doesn't like it is because it's a 2XL and it's very snug. I thought, well, at least it sort of acts a little bit like a girdle in some ways. I don't know if Meninda, who's got a slight person, really understands the notion of 2XL on a man. I think it probably would work as 2XL on a woman. However, I'm banking on the fact that I'm going to be able to stretch it out a little bit. And
I was looking on the website. I'm curious. I might want to buy one, but even though you get free shipping, I'm not sure how much shipping over here would be.
I didn't get free shipping, did I? Or maybe I did. I didn't even notice. Well, I would, if you want to buy one, I'd hurry up, because they're not going to be in stock for a particularly long period of time. But yeah, so get a 2XL, Kirby. It'll probably be quite large on you. But yeah, the fact that actually I feel it makes me feel a bit slimmer. So even though if it doesn't appear that way. Yeah, I liked it. It's a lovely jumper. Very pleased with it. I can't wear it yet because it's not quite Christmas, even though Deb put up the Christmas decorations today. Okay, so Lovazi have Doctor Who goodies for your loved ones at Christmas. The new Tomb of Cybermen scarf. What do I say hat for? Is a lovely exclusive for people maybe over the age of 50 who might have seen Tomb of the Cybermen. It's really quite cool, actually, and also it's quite subtle. If you want to, you know, if you wear that scarf and you're not around Doctor Who fans, they won't notice it. But if you happen to upon a Doctor Who fan, they might notice the Cybermen.
Oh, I
think
love
that's
that.
blimmin' cool. But what did you
Yeah,
say?
you know, I've got a sticker of that design on one of my tablets.
Did you say you love the hat?
No, the scarf.
Oh, yeah,
the
I
Tomb
was
of
gonna say, it's not a hat.
scarf.
Of course, we've got the shorter version of the Series 18 burgundy scarf, the TARDIS and Dalek Christmas scarf, which perhaps, no, I don't need that. I've got the jumper, but that's a nice
Yeah,
thing. if
see,
you
I
don't want
just clicked on the jumper, and it says free UK delivery.
that means it's not free to you. Then you'll have to pay postage. The
And
Pandoric
there's
opens-
also a 5-star review based on one review from someone named Adam Pearson.
yeah, someone's reviewed the Tomb of the Cybermen scarf, and I haven't got that, so that can't be me. Who did that one? Who did that review? That would be Raffi Hamling. Well done, Raffi. Listen to the show. Yeah, so of course the other things you can get are a Seventh Doctor Paisley scarves and longer Doctor Who scarves and TARDIS scarves, and there's some lovely stuff to get. And it's a good time of year to wear it because it's bloody freezing here in Great Britain at the moment. And of course, if you're not in a freezing environment, I think pretty sure that it's going to be getting very, very cold in America too soon. These are the things you need to buy for your loved ones who like Doctor Who at Christmas. But if you're listening to this show because you've got nothing better to do and you're a Star Trek fan, oh, they've sold out most of the goodies from Star Trek, apart from the umbrella. That's a shame. I won't even talk about it then. How about Sherlock? Oh, no, there's plenty of Sherlock items left. Don't understand what this says. I am Sherlock is the jargon on the hat and stuff. So it's a Sherlock Christmas beanie hat. Save up to 35% and get a 221B key ring or a gift box absolutely free. Yeah, the offer ends on the 2nd of December. So there you go. That's Lovazi. Who won?
Is that whowon.co.uk?
It was last time I looked. If I can
The
get it
Radio
up.
Times just put out a positive review of tonight's episode.
Oh, what of the podcast? I haven't even published it yet. It's remarkable.
The Witch Finders.
Good. Yeah, I quite enjoy it.
It says Jodie Whittaker's doctor just acknowledged her Doctor Who gender change in the best way.
That's because, as I hinted to before, she was put in a difficult situation where she would not be recognised. Her comments and would not be recognised by the people of that time because she was a woman. However, Isabella was moaning and grumbling because the woman who was asking for the witches to be dunked in the water, she said, but they've got the historically wrong. A man would have done that job. But of course, it did indicate she inherited the land from her dead husband, so therefore she was in charge of the land, so she was doing the dunking. But Isabella wasn't happy about that. She said, "Oh, they need to get their history right," and off she went. So
What else floats in water? Very small rocks.
anyway, back to whowon.co.uk. Now, Doctor Who is a thing that people love, and you can get your loved ones these things for Christmas, or even for birthdays that happen to be within the end of November or the beginning of December, like, for instance, The Entanglement, which is a Big Finish first Doctor story, Crash of the UK 201, which is what is that? Hang on, have a look at that one if I can see it. It's got Maureen O'Brien in it. So it must be a first Doctor story. Wow. You know who Maureen O'Brien is, don't you?
Yes. Where are you seeing this? Coming soon or latest?
It's a pre-order. It's It's a
Oh,
Big
okay.
Finish. It's a BBC. I don't know if it says Big Finish on it. I'll open it up again. It's Big Finish, I think, but the preview is so small I can't see it. It says the early adventures. So that's the First Doctor and Vicky. Lovely to see Maureen O'Brien back in Doctor Who. Combat Magics, Dalek Audio Annual. All these things are available for pre-order amongst others. Things that are available now: the 2019 Doctor Who Annual, Doctor Who Magazine 532, and Phantom Piper, which is a comic.
The Piper! The Piper!
Book thingy. So yes, comic book stores obviously feature quite a lot in the TV series called The Big Bang Theory, which I love. Right, so that's that bit. Now we can go on to Doctor Who news.
Okay.
And that is, if I can get things to load. Yeah. George A. Cooper has passed away at the age of 93. Now, he was in The Smugglers, which is a First Doctor story. I think
A missing First Doctor story.
yes, but
Is it?
obviously we reviewed this by way of a reconstruction, so we do
Yes.
recognise his face. And he was also quite a well-known actor in the 60s and 70s. Anyway, he was in Z Cars and some others, Doe Averman, Sykes, and Mind Language, all sorts of things. So he was quite a face that us in Britain would recognise from more comedy programmes later on.
He's in Grange Hill.
He was. Did he play the cleaner or something like that? I can't remember.
The caretaker, yeah.
That was when Tucker was in Grange Hill in the early days, and Grange Hill was absolutely amazing. Lucy Wilson Mysteries, Curse of the Mirror Clowns book launch. Candy Bar Books have announced the official release of the Lucy Wilson Mysteries novel, Curse of the Mirror Clowns. What's they called? Which will be celebrated with a book launch on Saturday, the 24th of November. That was yesterday, wasn't it? The day before. That was on Deb's birthday. 11th, from 11 till 3. I bet that's somewhere that I can't go. Wouldn't be. It's finished anyway. It's in the past. Tom Baker's Scratchman to be released in January. Scratchman, written by Tom Baker, published by BBC Books. What are you afraid of? The Doctor, Harry, and Sarah arrive in a remote Scottish island. Oh, that's quite interesting. There you go. So Tom Baker's written a Doctor Who story, everybody.
Yeah. Yay!
There you go. So if they got an audio version, that'd be good, having Tom Baker reading it, wouldn't it? Reading
that
his
would be-
story.
Yes.
No, that'd be. I think they.
It will be released as an audiobook.
Whoa,
Awesome. I get it that
that's
way.
something to get, isn't it? And maybe
Yes.
maybe they'll do an adaptation. Mind you, they can't do Sarah, unfortunately. They need to find a woman that can do a really good impression of Sarah Jane for audio, mustn't they? And Harry, for that matter. But never mind. Right then, Witchfinders. That's pictures from the very atmospheric and enjoyable, I found, episode, especially with Alan Cumming, who's
I can't wait.
he steals the screen because he's an amazing actor. Mags returns with the 7th Doctor for Big Finish. Oh, Mags! We just talked about Greatest Show in the Galaxy, didn't we? The 7th Doctor.
Oh, her!
Yes, Jessica Martin. She's better known as an impressionist, but she didn't do impressions when she played Mags in The Greatest Show in the Galaxy. And she's returning with actually, what is he now? He's been upgraded, Sylvester McCoy. Is it patron of the show?
I
He's
guess.
something of the show because he's been on twice. But, it's a family member of the show. Yes, family member of the show is Sylvester McCoy. So that's quite exciting for the Big Finish fans. William Hartnell tribute documentary. The Doctor Who Appreciation Society, DWAS, has released a half-hour documentary showing the installation of a William Hartnell heritage plaque at Ealing Studios last month. The video features interviews with family and friends of William Hartnell and also includes the Kami family unveiling of the plaque itself.
This is the actual documentary that they're linking to. Let me grab a copy of that. There.
Yeah, if you post that link, please post that link to the 20 Megabyte Doctor Who Podcast Facebook group.
Sure.
Because I wouldn't mind seeing it, because I'm actually going to get some free time soon after 10 months of constant wedding work. So the Time War continues for Big Finish. Big Finish Productions have announced 3 more box sets depicting what happened to the Time Lord's home planet Gallifrey in the ultimate battle across time and space. Following on from the events of Gallifrey Time War Volume 1, find out who survived, and whether Romana and Narvin live to see Gallifrey fall. So sounds good as well. If you're a big Finnish fan, there's a trailer as well, which I'm not going to play because I haven't even seen or heard. Gallifrey Time War 1, so I'm not going to play that trailer. Demons of the Punjab official rating. That's not bad at all, Kirby. 7.48 million, and how pretty.
Since I wasn't on, I loved it.
Oh, good. I'm glad you got a chance to say that. Oh, I want to say it was beautiful, and I know I've heard a couple of people say, "Oh, the series." I mean, even Jeff, so the series is not that good. But we've had some absolutely outstanding stories within a series that's not been so good. So I can't understand it. Even the meh stories have been pretty good. The only one that was really not good at all for me was the spider one.
Right.
Everything else
it looks good.
It's amazing. It's beautiful. I'm rather disappointed with people. And I know Ben will be very happy that Jeff's gone back to being Jeff again. And then it says the overnight figures for Kablam were quite low at 5.93 million. But I think obviously I'm a Celebrity Get Me Out of Here starting as well.
Well, Barrowman's on I'm a Celebrity Get Me Out of Here.
It's brilliant. This series of I'm a Celebrity, but not obviously not just for John Barrowman being on it, but having Harry Redknapp and having Noel Edmonds on it as well. Wow, they can't go wrong with it because there's some three major TV legends.
You know what I would like? I've never been able to see it because I can't find copies of an older series of.
Well, when Colin Baker was on it,
the one that Colin was on.
Yeah,
I've never seen the episodes that he was on.
I couldn't tell you whether they'd be available or not, but I wouldn't have thought they are.
They're not in the usual places.
I don't know where you'd find those, to be fair. So, anybody listening to the show that wants to post somewhere to help Kirby out with the series of I'm a Celebrity Get Me Out of that contained Colin Baker, he give him the link so he can watch it. But here you go. I'm pretty sure you can see I'm a Celebrity Around the World. Looks actually on now, but past series not.
I don't know.
It's on ITV,
I'm sure it's easier to see it now than it was back when Colin was on.
Yeah, maybe so. I don't know, but it's on ITV. When Big Brother's on, you get people in America writing in. Well, when it used to be on because they've cancelled it, but they had people in America writing in to say how much they enjoyed it and stuff like that. So I'm pretty sure you can watch it somehow around the world.
There is a I'm a Celebrity Get Me Out of Here YouTube channel.
Well, there you go then.
Official.
Oh, well, there you go. That's probably only showing clips though.
Probably.
So that's it for Doctor Who news. I'm just going to check my diary for next week. Oh, this looks like.
Let me bring up the calendar.
It actually looks okay because I've got stuff on Saturday, but not on Sunday. So that looks like there's a do. I'm not too sure about the following week because Deb will be doing a bridal show, but even then, it will be well finished by the time Doctor Who's on. So even that looks like it's a doable one. So what episode was it this week? 7? 8?
7 was this was 8.
Right, so we got next week will be 9, so that'll be on the 2nd, and episode 10 on the 9th. So that'll be it then until New Year's Day. I'm very disappointed that they were not having a Christmas Day special this year. Very disappointed indeed. And I think it's slightly sexist that the Doctor changes to woman and they don't do a Christmas Day special. I said it.
Next week, I shouldn't have any issue on Sunday, but I'm having to drive Julia to the airport again. She's going back out to Iowa. And, the last time she did this, I ended up podcasting from the car.
Cool.
But it shouldn't be an issue because of our change in time.
Isn't James T. Kirk from Iowa, by the way?
Huh?
Isn't James T. Kirk from Iowa?
Yes.
Oh, okay, just wanted to say.
Yeah. Julia visited his future birthplace about a year ago.
Okay.
And she brought me back a mouse pad. It says "Live Fast, Die Red."
Anyway, talking of Star Trek, the new series of Star Trek Discovery begins in January. Woo, can't wait. So
I don't watch that sometime.
You ought to, and then that means, of course, that we've got the new series of Young Sheldon coming on E4 very soon, and we've also got the new series of what's it called again? Orville. Yes, the Orville must be coming very soon as well. So
I watched the first episode of the Orville and I liked it. I just need to find time.
First episode is probably the worst episode. The reason why it's the worst
I
episode,
liked it.
no, it's still brilliant, but it's still the worst episode because it's all about the affair that that his wife's having, and just sort of getting on the ship and not being happy about it, and it doesn't show that how competent that they actually all are. It makes it look as if they're going to be a bunch of idiots on the ship, but they're not. They're just very sort of, they come across as just normal people. Like they're not like, it's how the banter and everything is just, it's so true to life, and it just fits really, really nicely into the series. And also, I will say, no spoilers, but it is a bit of a spoiler, that the blue man that is, the man who does the dirty with his wife in the first episode does reappear later on to very comedic effect in the series. But the Orville is the second best American.
Yeah, he did.
Program. The second best
Maybe I'll
American
watch
comedy
another
program.
episode of that tonight.
Orville, honestly, it's addictive. I love it. So good. I've said this over and over again. It's the second best comedy program on American television, and it's certainly, it's one of the best sci-fi programs on TV at the moment. Anyway, forget the comedy; it's fantastic. It's really sort of in the loop of Star Trek: The Next Generation, but the characters are more believable, I suppose you'd say. Really. It's fantastic stuff, and I love the celebrity drop-ins. You got, I think, Liam Neeson. Is it Liam Neeson? Pretty sure he's in one.
I did notice in the very first episode, the actor who plays Raj's father was in it.
Yeah, and also we got the Doctor from Star Trek Voyager is in it as well.
Oh, really?
And there's loads of little
I've only seen one episode.
Stunt casting going on throughout the series, but they don't need the stunt casting because it's fantastic. Really good. Right, what we got on the feed coming through here? Alan T. Butcher said, "It's long enough, you don't need to enlarge it." We had that one, didn't we? And then he said, "A flawless reading by Kirby."
Sure, uh-huh.
I think he was a bit sarcastic there, but there you go. Right. So hopefully next week we'll have a few of the incumbents back on the show. I don't really want to say this. I quite enjoyed doing it on Monday because Reese was on. It'd be lovely to sort of be able to move it back to Monday. One, because it's Debbie's day off. Two, because Reese could be on. The only thing is, obviously, it would mean shoehorning Mary out of bed back again on Monday mornings. But and you'd only have an hour and a half.
And see, when back in the Monday days, for a long time, I was in a different time zone, and it was easier for me when I was living in Tennessee.
Yes.
And I can only, if you do it on Monday, I can only give you an hour and a half. I can't give you 2 hours.
Well, the listeners will be pleased about that. I'm just saying, I quite enjoyed the fact that we could get Reese back on, but
Oh, yes.
because I enjoyed having his dulcet tones back on the show. But the trouble is, the series coming to an end, and I'm pretty sure he wouldn't be up for going back to the journey.
Yeah, I wouldn't be listening to you if it weren't for Reese.
I'm thinking, actually, maybe we should commit ourselves to doing a Monday, not next week, but on the 10th of December, because that'll be the last one of the series before the New Year special, and then Reese will be able to, speak about the series as it was. So if he can come on, maybe we could do that, and then we could prime Mary, and maybe that's a goer.
Sure. I will pencil it in, or actually I'll put it in.
Remind me of that one, because I will have to try and talk Mary into it next week. But yes, so that's really about it this week. We won't be doing any more commentaries. That was just a one-off, by the way. But and I don't think we did a particularly good commentary because we were talking about all sorts of other things to fill gaps. But in the end, it was okay. I think we actually did it in a shorter time reviewing, having an actual commentary than we would normally do when I'm flicking through the episode and you were interrupting me.
Well, sorry.
Just saying. So, anyway, with that in mind,
the 10th of December, Monday,
yes,
5 in the morning.
Yes, but we've got to do another episode between now and then. Anyway, with that in mind, I'd like to thank you all the ones that watched us on YouTube and may indeed watch the non-live version of this particular presentation. Those that listen to the podcast in the conventional way, and Kirby for actually bothering to turn up. So until next week, goodbye.
Goodbye, Fancy Pants.